The biggest trade of the offseason thus far has easily been Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves, though that will soon be undercut by Kevin Durant being moved eventually. But for now, as this remains the biggest trade of the offseason, I wanted to talk about this trade, what the Timberwolves are going to look like next year, and I wanted to do it with the aid of my good friend Alex Hoops to bring some film breakdown to this, so let's get into it. Before I continue on with this video, if you end up enjoying this video, please be sure to subscribe. Also drop a like on this video to help it perform in the YouTube algorithm. And if you appreciate Alex's contributions to this video and you want to see more, there is a series on this channel that he does for film breakdowns. And of course, he has his own YouTube channel, which is fantastic. And you get way more of the film breakdown stuff from him over there. So go check that out. Link in the description, pinned comment, all that. Depending on who you ask, the Rudy Gobert trade is a great trade or one of the worst of all time. And there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of middle ground in terms of the volatility of these opinions. Yes, they did lose a lot of key role players. However, I personally feel that how you think of this trade comes down to how you think of Rudy Gobert. It's more than likely that if you like the trade, you probably think highly of Rudy. If you don't like it, you probably don't. So first and foremost, what we need to understand is the value of Rudy Gobert, and to help us do that, here comes Alex.
So obviously we need to take a look at the defense first and foremost. The Timberwolves had kind of an on and off season when it comes to their defense. They finished with the 13th highest defensive rating in the NBA with 111 points allowed per 100 possessions. The league average defensive rating was 112. So while they were technically an above average defense, it really wasn't by much. Obviously, one of the biggest gripes with Cat is his defense and that he's not exactly the best rim protector in the world. And while there's plenty of things to complain about when it comes to Cat's defense, I also think there's a bit of a schematic factor when it comes to his ability to adequately protect the rim. They often play with him on the wing instead of keeping him near the paint. When you've got Cat pulled all the way out to the perimeter, it creates a ton of space on the interior. He's not really the quickest big man in the world, so if teams get downhill to the basket, the Timberwolves were relying on guys like Jared Vanderbilt to be the rim protector and provide help on those drives. Now, if you're going to play Cat pulled out of the paint, you need to have someone that's able to anchor the interior, and that's where Rudy Gobert comes in. Rudy Gobert pretty much solves this issue entirely. If you want to let Cat come up more towards the arc and on the perimeter and then funnel teams into the paint, now they're going to have Rudy Gobert there to play cleanup and provide help when guys get beat off the dribble. Like on this play, he starts out more towards the wing, but as Jordan Poole is going to come off the screen and attack the basket, Rudy Gobert is going to just slide over and he's able to provide a contest on the shot and force the miss. Gobert is a better defender against all play types except isolation, where him and Cat are fairly similar.
I also specifically had a theory that there is a unique way in which they can really maximize each other's potential defensively. Say you have a center out there who's just pretty good to a good starter, but we're not talking about the Embiids and Jokic's of the world. With those guys, let's say it's like Clint Capella. Put Karl Anthony Towns on him, and then subsequently have Rudy Gobert defend the worst player who's the least threatening shooting the ball, and allow him to essentially have the free safety Giannis type of role where he can just be a rim protector 24/7. Cat is in a more reduced role. All he has to do is be relatively physical on the big man, and then Rudy Gobert is allowed to maximize his defensive ability without having to worry about one-on-one matchups. He's even more effective as a team defender. This gets the most out of Cat's defensive ability and Gobert's defensive ability at the same time.
An example of that here, look how Gobert is kind of just camped out in the paint. He's not doing anything but manning the interior. And then when Zubac and Paul George run the split action, Gobert is able to protect both Zubac and Paul George, and he's able to ultimately get the block. In the pick and roll, Gobert is able to come up a little bit and not be forced into drop coverage, because even if he gets beat or his matchup gets the angle going downhill towards the basket, like here, he's still able to offer deterrence at the rim due to his ridiculous length and solid lateral movement when recovering after getting beat. Being able to rely on Gobert to operate as a roamer and the primary pick and roll defender is going to work a lot better than having Cat handle these responsibilities, and Cat can focus on being matched up against lesser offensive threats in any given matchup.
But even the biggest Rudy Gobert hater would acknowledge that he is going to help Minnesota's defense. What I find more interesting is what he's going to bring to the table offensively, because frankly, he offers more on offense than many people would give him credit for.
Rudy Gobert is an incredibly effective roll man, averaging the 3rd most points per possession in the pick and roll in the entire NBA, and he's doing that at the 2nd highest efficiency. Cat isn't your typical pick and roll big, and Gobert is just simply a more effective roll man. Adding Gobert allows Cat to operate more as a power forward and play off of the wing and out of the post, instead of him having to shoot threes, post up, and play out of the pick and roll, which is certainly a lot of responsibilities for one player to have, while also expecting them to contribute on defense. I think that simplifying Cat's role is going to do a lot to help Minnesota. They're not going to have to rely on him to do nearly as much for them, and instead he's going to be able to really leverage his spacing with Gobert being more of the interior presence that they need. Cat is an effective enough of a post-up player, and he's actually a really good playmaker out of post-ups. The offensive advantages of having him and Rudy together when Cat is posting up is that Rudy is a highly effective cutter, and it's going to allow Cat to have an easy time of finding him on cuts to the rim. Gobert and D'Angelo Russell are also going to be able to take advantage of a high volume of pick and rolls. The Jazz led the league in points per possession in the pick and roll last year, and I expect D'Angelo Russell's playmaking to become bolstered even more by having him operate with Rudy Gobert as the roll man. This should also result in a lot more perimeter touches for Cat, because when D'Angelo Russell and Gobert are running the pick and roll, defenses are going to have to provide added attention to defend that action, and with other defenders pulled inwards to cover that in the attack at the rim, Cat and the other wings can stand ready for a kickout, and Cat can either leverage his incredible perimeter shooting ability by taking easy catch and shoot threes, or he can attack the basket and get to the rim.
This fit is so much better than a lot of people are acting like it is. Offensively, they stand to benefit almost as much as they do defensively, and that is saying a lot because they stand to benefit a lot defensively. And I actually love Minnesota a lot going into this year because of this trade. In fact, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they're contenders if you get the right leaps from guys like Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards. Is this trade a gamble? Absolutely. But the picks can be justified from the fact that the Timberwolves are probably going to be pretty good for the next couple of years over when those picks are actually conveying. And while they might have taken a bit of a hit to their depth, their starting lineup objectively just got way better, and I really think they're going to be a very good team next year. Whether or not they could really get in on a contender conversation, I would lean towards no, just because there's a lot of damn good teams in the NBA, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing to what Minnesota is doing. If you guys end up enjoying this video, then a lot of this video was Alex, so go subscribe to his channel and subscribe to this one, drop a like, all that, you know what to do. Yeah, that's it, goodbye. Seriously, go subscribe to Alex Hoops. He's like probably better at this than me if we're being real.